All right, this is your Body Never Lies free intro on Sunday, May 20th, 2018. There's a few people here. Before we start, there's a few rules. They're pretty simple. There are fewer rules now than there were a couple of years ago. Basically, don't sit on your questions. If you have a question, ask it. Right? You don't have to wait. Please don't wait to the end. People always ask the best questions like once it's all over, the camera's off, and then the great questions come. So don't do that. And the other thing is just be here for yourself. So ask questions for you, not for your neighbor or for me or whatever. Good?
Good.
Cool. So we are going onto YouTube. So when you ask questions, realize your voice is going to be, on YouTube. Just don't mind that. And whoever volunteers is going to be on camera. And that's it. So Your Body Never Lies is about body language. And excuse the new equipment. Got a microphone today, so I have a few new things going on. Body language is the core of this training. And it's really all of this work is about your body language in one form or another, because it's your body that gives you information, right, about the world around you. It's your body, your mind that's constantly telling you what to think about something you see or where to go or what not to do. That's all body language. And body language is also how you physically present yourself to other people. Like that just is. And when we're stressed out, typically our shoulders rise. So when we're stressed out, we have the body language of, right? And when we go to meet people, people tell. People respond to our body language. It's way easier to listen to me if my shoulders are down. Just notice how you feel when you look at me right now. You'll notice that you're probably pretty relaxed. There's not much going on. But look at me now. I want to tell you about body language. That tells you something, right? And probably changes how you feel in your body if I'm talking to you and my shoulder's up. I want to talk to you about some really good information. Right? How seriously are you going to take me? Right? And if both my shoulders are up, it's going to feel a little creepy, or you might even laugh at me, right? You might just feel sorry for me if I'm walking around like this all day. Let me tell you about relaxation, right? You're just not going to take it seriously. When you go in for a job interview, if you're stressed out and your shoulders are up, it's going to be harder for you to get your message across to the interviewer because they're so busy noticing your body language that they're not going to hear what a great candidate you are, right? And this work is about getting comfortable in your body so that you can get what you want, right? And so that the world responds positively to you and your desires. If you go into a job and you're like, yeah, I can do this job, I'd love to. I should be paid $100,000 a year, right? And the guy's gonna go oh, this guy's relaxed. Sure, why not? Let's try him out. But if I go in and I'm like, yeah, I can do this job, and the other guy do it for 100, I can do it for 50, right? Are you gonna hire me? Who cares about saving money? Do you want the stressed out guy working in your office? Do you even trust that he's gonna do a good job? That's what this work is about. It's about adjusting your own body language. Make sense? Okay. No questions? The body language that we project to other people is a reflection of the body language we have going inside ourselves. So really what we do is we shift our body language inside, and that translates into new body language for the world. Make sense, basically? So what this work is and what this work is about is the 20 plus years that I spent unraveling that connection between what we hear from our body and how that translates into what the world sees in us. Make sense? Cool. So this negative body language or old body language that we carry around, it comes from our history. We've all had things happen to us that we didn't like. And those things impact our body. They impact how we feel about ourselves, and they impact our body language, and therefore impact how people treat us. Pretty much makes sense, right? So if the math of what I'm saying starts to not make sense to you, just raise your hand, let me know. You don't get beat up for raising your hand today. how that body language was created, though, wasn't by the events that happened. So I've been fired a few times, and every time I got fired, it made me feel like I was about that big, right, or worthless. But it's not being fired that made my body withdraw. It's not being fired that made me feel worthless. It was actually me pushing away those feelings that I didn't want to have and sticking them in my body. And what this work is about looking at what we have avoided in our life, because it's those things we have avoided that actually impact us the most. The experiences you had that you actually experienced, no matter how terrible you think they were, if you actually experienced them, they're over and they're gone, and you're no longer dragging them around with you. You just aren't. It's those events that you refuse to experience, right? Because it was just too crazy. If you were really young and you watched your dog get hit by a car and suddenly you're losing your best friend at 6 years old, right? That's too much to handle at 6 years old. You don't want to think about, I'm not going to have my dog anymore. So you push away that feeling of loss, right? Because you don't want to feel it. But when we push away an event that we don't want to feel, it doesn't just go out into the universe, and it doesn't go out just into our past. It literally goes into our body and gets stuck there. And now our body believes that that event is perpetually happening. And therefore, our body comes up with coping mechanisms to deal with it. And then typically, it's the coping mechanisms that drive us crazy, because you have no control over them. Like, you just don't. I grew up incredibly shy around girls. Like, I could not look a woman in the eye. To me, though, I wasn't shy. To me, it's just that girls wanted to reject me. Like, I was just a rejectable person. Had nothing to do with me. It was just that the universe did not like Brian, right? Especially girls. So I was always just scared to talk to girls. It was totally silly. When I had my first session with my teacher, though, where this work comes from, although my understanding of his work is different than his own, but Patrick Collard is the originator of this body language adjustment field or study or movement, whatever it gets to be called. When I had my first training session with him, he walked around my body a couple times and he noticed something, and he took his finger and he waited until I kind of looked at it, and then he pushed right here, and I was like, ow! I could totally feel this tension I had been holding. And right when I was feeling that tension, he said, Brian, the first time you asked a girl out on a date, did she laugh in your face? And like, when he said that, I had this image of this girl in 7th grade laughing in my face for asking her to the movies. She literally just burst out laughing in the courtyard of my school in front of my friends, and I instantly felt rejected. Instantaneous, full rejection, and I did not want to feel it, and I didn't want my friends to see me getting rejected, so I just pushed away that it happened, just pushed away the feeling. My friends asked why she's laughing, and I'm like, oh, nothing, let's go to lunch. Just ignore that. By avoiding that rejection, I pushed it away. I literally pushed that rejection away, and it went into my body. And now, that was in 7th grade, and then I'm about 30, 31 years old. I'm in this private training with Patrick, and suddenly I get this, I see this picture of this girl rejecting me, and I'm feeling in my body where I had been holding it, and before I could hold my breath, before I could complain to myself or the universe about what was going on, I just felt great relief. So in that moment, in that private training, Patrick had helped me show my body that event it had been dealing with its whole life was a memory and not actually happening right now. My body went from constantly coping with, perpetual rejection to realizing, oh, this is a memory, and letting it go in seconds, in just seconds. And I felt this great relief from my body, psychic relief of like, I'm not being rejected, and also physical relief. I no longer had this tension here, I guess that's the clavicle. And I didn't think much of it. It was 11 in the morning. I went home or went back to work, and that evening friends called me and asked me to go to the bar. And I'm like, sure, I'll go to the bar. And I'm at the bar for about 20 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm like talking to 4 women. and we're all laughing and having fun, and I have absolutely no fear. And it almost feels like they're competing for my attention, which I've never felt before. I'm like super excited. And that is when I suddenly realized that I was no longer shy. And I'm like, literally, I'm in the bar, and I suddenly get flooded with, oh my gosh, I used to be shy. And oh my gosh, the rejection wasn't real. You know, the feeling of always being rejected wasn't real. And I was just like, it was just done. It was over. I like no longer had a fear of women. It was mind-boggling. But what had happened is, if you imagine when I pushed away this rejection I had felt in 7th grade, or had refused to feel in 7th grade, it went into my body. And it turned up as body language. So I was actually creating a situation where if I met a woman and she was interested in me, or like we connected across the room and hey, let's talk, you know, kind of a flirty thing, and I went and talked to her, like it would be over within a minute. We'd start talking, and you know, like I'd get a fear of rejection, my shoulders would go up, and no matter how much I tried to ignore like my fear or my shyness, I would just get rejected. Because of course, who wants to date a guy who's like talking to you like this, like, hey, do you want to go to the movies with me? Like, does that actually sound fun and exciting? Like, no, who's going to do that, right? So we create self-fulfilling prophecies. I mean, the world constantly reaffirmed to me that I was rejectable, because every time I talked to a woman, she'd reject me. And so that would just prove that I'm rejectable. But actually, that was just fantasy. It was really about this stuck body language, this stuck fear. This work is simply about showing our body that those things that we suppressed as a kid, or even as an adult, are actually memories and not perpetually happening right now. In this work, that's all we're showing our body. And what I do as facilitator is help you train your body, help you show your body that those suppressed events are actually memories. And once your body gets that those things are memories, it just automatically lets them go. You know, your body is super wise. You've had, millions of years of evolution. Your body only wants to deal with reality. Your body's job is to survive. That's all it wants to do, is survive and keep living as long as possible. And in order to do that, you have to respond to what's real. If you're responding to things that aren't real, that aren't actually in your environment, that's not actually helping your survival. You're just living in a fantasy world. And not you personal, but you, me, everybody.
I have a question.
Yes.
So with that example, were you aware of the fact that you were carrying this I'm going to be rejected thought pattern?
No.
Just not aware of what led to it?
No.
Completely unaware.
Before then, my awareness of the situation was that girls did not like me. That I was not the kind of man, boy, whatever, that girls were attracted to.
So you were aware of that? I
was aware of that, but it was something with girls. Girls don't like me. It wasn't there's something wrong with me. It was something wrong with the girls out here. I projected, I took what was happening and projected it onto the world around me. So I essentially created a filter, like an overlay, a mask. And I created an overlay on the world that basically told me the world's rejecting me, and then when I would meet somebody, I would set them up to reject me by giving them this body language that didn't feel good. Like, do you want to go to the movies? Like, no. Right?
Or do you
do you want to hang out with me? Like, nobody wants to hang out with that. Like, it's creepy, right? Like, what's going on? But when you see somebody like this doesn't mean they're carrying around an old rejection. It could mean anything. It could mean they have a hidden agenda, they're hiding something from themselves, they're trying to hide something from you. I mean, there's all kinds of things it could be. Don't think that this doesn't mean, reject me necessarily. It could mean all kinds of things.
I have a question too.
Yeah, please.
So like in that moment, 7th grade, you're getting rejected, and the response is, whatever movement of the body, like.
Right.
As we're having that experience, like the thing that then becomes the body language, like is, if I'm stressed, it's this. Is it that that's the natural response in that moment to that situation, both in my feelings and my body, is to do this, but I don't want to feel it, so I also kind of stop this?
Well,
stuck, or does that come later?
We all do it a little different. We're all cut from the same cloth. So, I mean, there's There's rules to body language that we all follow. But we've all had our own life experience, right? And the fact of the matter is, that girl may not have been rejecting me. That girl may have been so blown away that I was asking her to the movies that she burst out laughing because she didn't expect it. So she was just rejecting like this new, she just didn't expect it, right? But I was just so freaked out that, I don't think I ever talked to her again. I never found out what the laughter was about. I just ran away. If I had said, hey, why are you laughing? I might have heard, oh, because I thought you'd never ask me to the movies. Like, I really don't know. I grew up in Europe. I traveled from school to school. My dad got moved around. He worked for a large private company, and I would just move every few years. So I never had, I don't know where she lives. I don't even remember her last name. Like, it was so long ago. There's no way for me to like converse with her today and find out what really happened. But the thing is, when we go into fear, or anytime something happens that we don't want to feel, we psychically push it away, you suddenly don't know what's going on anymore because you're literally going into denial, right? And I mean, we're all really good at denial. Like, we're really good. And that's why actually this work requires a facilitator, because like when you push something away you don't want to feel, your denial is so great that you don't even remember that you did it. I completely forgot that girl had rejected me. I completely forgot about that event. I had no idea that I had that in my history until Patrick found it. He was able to find it because, we'll get into that later, but he could see the issue in my body. And we can learn to do that. You're not going to learn that on this video. It takes some time and it's a lot of training, and you can learn to get very specific information from your feelings. You can look at somebody and know how many brothers and sisters they have, and what issues run their life. So it's not very difficult once you have the training. The thing about the event is that because I had felt rejected by her and refused to feel it, then every time a girl was interested in me, it would get re-stimulated. And my body would be like, oh, you're about to get rejected. And so this was tight, it would get tight again, and that would pull the shoulder up. And this tells people, I can't get what I want. Don't give me what I want, I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough for you. Like, we all, you can like just notice how your body feels when I do this. Want to go to the movies? Probably not. It's reasonable. It's just like the body language perpetuates what we believe the world to be. Because every time I met a girl, asked her to the movies, by stressing out and rekindling that old memory, I was setting them up to reject me. So I set the world up to reinforce what I already believed through my body language. And we all do that. The good news is that these filters that we overlay in order to understand the world, they're easy to take away. All we have to do is stop suppressing an old event, let our body know that it's just a memory and not actually happening right now, and then the body automatically drops all of the coping mechanisms that it had for that. But once my body knew that girl rejecting me was a memory, it dropped the coping mechanism of putting up that overlay of like all girls reject me. I lost that. The idea, that was the big idea, is that girls reject me, like that just went away. So now I could look at somebody and not feel like I was about to be rejected. Awesome. How this works, when we push something away, we're pushing away the feeling of it. Not the memory of it, but the feeling of the memory is what we push away. And that creates a kind of rubber band effect. Where one end of the rubber band, you're pushing away the feeling, but in your mind, you still have the memory. And the feeling of the memory and the memory gets separated, and just like a rubber band, the further they get separated through time, the tighter that rubber band becomes, and the more tension we get. In this work, all we do is bring the two back together. So the memory and the feeling of the memory return and become one unit again. And when that happens, that is when the body just instantaneously realizes that the event isn't real. It's a memory. And once it's a memory, your body automatically drops it and drops all of the filters, all of the blinders. If it's created latent tendencies, so lots of times when we get stressed out as humans, we play a program to help us get through the stress. And we don't even realize we're doing it, right? And then like the stress is gone, and a few minutes later we realize that we behaved in some way that we normally wouldn't behave. Like we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Well, you did it to handle a stressful situation that may or may not actually be going on, right? It's a program to help you, like for me running away from girls, not being willing to talk to girls, or like doing this, that was all my body coping with rejection. Let me erase this. So once the body realizes something's a memory, it just drops it. The latent tendencies or programs also just go away. So when I'm in the bar and suddenly I'm talking to these girls and realize I'm totally relaxed, right? That is me no longer running that stressful program, or that program to get me through a stress of talking to girls. Because literally every time I want to talk to a girl, my stress program would kick in. You're going to reject me, aren't you? And that's what I'm telling you. You're going to reject me, aren't you? And they'd say, yes, I am going to reject you. And I'd be like, thank you. I knew it. And we all do that. We all do that with all kinds of things. However, that, that's not being here now. That's being in the past. And if we're in the past, that creates all kinds of, it just creates for a non-optimal life, I guess we would say. Because if we're in the past, if we're running these overlays on the world, then instead of seeing the world as it really is, we're seeing our history. And we're projecting our history onto the world around us. And then we wonder why, we get into arguments with people. It's like, imagine me having a conversation with a friend 20 years ago. I'd be like, oh, that girl hates me. Like, no, she wants to, and my friend's like, no, I think she really wants to date you. I think she likes you. No, she's just getting ready to reject me. She might go out with me once, but then she'll like tell her friends what a dick I am, and it's just going to be an awful situation. I'm not going there. And like, that's such a projection, right? You really never know. When we aren't being here now, when we're running our past, it's really hard to see the basic spiritual truths, the things that really matter. Life, the world, is basically just this one big ball of unconditional love. Like everything you see and everything you experience, it's all love attempting to teach you lessons. When we're stuck in our past, though, we don't feel that. What you feel is the universe repeating over and over this thing you don't like. But it's not real, it's self-created. What's really going on is the world is replaying things in order for you to finally let it go, to finally get the lesson. Make sense? Okay. Any questions on anything at all? No? Okay. So how this training works is essentially locate where in the body some tension is held. In my experience, the stuff that we're ready to let go of, and which are the things that are stressing us out right now, tend to show up in the shoulders. So typically in this work, we look for like where there's tightness in the shoulders. And then we identify what the memory is that's creating the tightness. And that's it. And once, as a trainee, all you have to do is figure out what memory is causing what tension in your body. And once you go, oh, this is due to, my mom, blah, 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 fill in the blank. Or this is due to my dad, wasn't home. This is due to whatever. Once you figure out what it is, the tension in the body goes away. That tells you that you found the right memory. The other thing that happens is the memory goes away. And by going away, I don't mean that your memories get erased. I mean that your body lets go of the angst. The charge behind the memory goes away. That's the beautiful part about this work, is when the charge leaves the memory and the tension leaves your body, that's when you know you did it right. Like that's it. That's the end result. The tension goes away, the memory relaxes, it doesn't have the emotional charge to it. Then you've successfully done the work. It's that easy. The good news is that, well, there's lots of good news, but one of the neat things about this work is it turns out that when we psychically push something away, what we hold it down with and what we push away with is our attention. So we're all born with a certain amount of attention, and we end up using that attention to hold down things that we don't like or that we don't want to experience. So not only did I suddenly lose my shyness and suddenly realize, oh, girls don't want to reject me. Girls, shit, they want to hang out with me. This is fun, right? It wasn't just that. It's that this attention I had used to hold down the memory suddenly was no longer holding down the memory. I now have more attention for my present environment right now. So literally what happens with this work is your blinders open up and you start noticing more information. It's truly amazing. I don't know if you've paid attention to this, but when I was young, I noticed we'd visit my grandparents every year, and every summer, I would notice that they were noticing less information. It's like it took more to talk to them, to get them to hear, what I was saying. And this reverses that. It turns out that as we get older, the more life events that we don't want to feel and we suppress, then that's the more energy, more attention we're using to hold those things down, then the less attention we have for right here, right now. And the blinders creep in and we notice less and less. This can happen at 15, it can happen at 20, it can start at 30. It can start, at some point, it gets noticeable. And it's always noticeable to other people first. And then we start noticing, oh, I used to notice way more info. I must be getting old. Well, no, you're not getting old. And even if you are getting old, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with suppressing events that we don't want to feel. That makes this work really easy because your body's job is to survive. And anything you do to increase your body's chances of survival, like your body wants more of. And if you suddenly notice more information in your environment, your body's like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Let's do that again. That was cool. Training the subconscious is easy when the subconscious realizes that it's making it easier for it to survive, or for you to survive. The body, the subconscious, it, whatever, I don't label those things. You might think that my vocabulary is a little off, but I believe that I'm the observer of all of this, and everything else is just like in a suitcase that I'm carrying around, helping me understand and experience the world. But you, the observer, that's different than you, the body. The body, and from my perspective, is something that you have. It's not who you are. Our bodies love repetition. And that our bodies love negative repetition and our bodies love positive repetition. And I'm always using the same example, so I'll try something different. But if every time you got on a motorcycle, it crashed, and it didn't matter. Like somebody says, "Hey, get on my bike," and you get on the back, and they crash, and then you get on the motorcycle again, and it crashes, and then you try riding one yourself, and you crash it. Pretty soon, you're just not going to want to get on motorcycles. Your body's going to trust that they are dangerous, and it's going to be really hard just to you go to get on the motorcycle and your body's going to start shaking because your body has its own inner wisdom. And it's that inner wisdom that I'm interested in training. That inner wisdom also trusts positive repetition. When you do this training and you get relief of letting go of old memories and reclaiming that attention that held them down, what happens is your body recognizes it feels good, but then you do it again, you create repetition. Pretty soon your body starts trusting this whole process of letting old stuff go. And your body starts to recognize, starts being able to tell when things are memories and when they're actually happening right now. Your body learns that on its own. You don't have to train for that. Your body just learns it automatically. That's amazing, because what happens is your body will not let you suppress anything anymore. I mean, the worst thing in the world could happen and your body will get you to feel it. And you'll stay present and feel it happening. And then once it's over, you move on with your life. You're not sad, you're not carrying it around, it's not impacting how you view the world, you just experienced it. And I didn't really realize how impactful this was until the fire in 2015 when my wife and I lost our house. And we're living in a hot springs, and I was one of the last people out. driving out of there, the campground's on fire, there's trees on fire, and there's like nobody, and I'm like, wow, this place is empty. I didn't realize like how deep into the evacuation we were. 2 weeks later, when we were let back into town, we went to FEMA and the Red Cross, to get the financial help and whatever they were going to do for us. And, so we sit down and people ask, so what was your address? Start filling out the forms, your name, address, and you're living there. And then they look up at us and go, what was your address again? And they like write something down, like pass the paper to the guy, and we're like, what's going on? And so like, someone else comes over and like, so what was your address? And we're like looking around and like, oh my gosh, they don't believe that our house burned down, and we're looking around the room and everybody's super sad and crying and they're telling their stories about how they lost their house and their car and their dog, whatever happened, and Rose and I are just like, yeah, we're just here for help so we can move on with our life. We're not there to tell stories because we're not stuck in a story. Like the fire was 2 weeks ago. Why are people all sad? Like it was just like we just like literally. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but literally that's what happened. I mean, we walked out of there going, "Oh my God!" Like everyone's stuck in the fire, and that's when we realized like how incredible this training is. I mean, the training always felt good. It always feels good to get more attention and to just notice more. Intuition amps way up, when our attention is here now. And, however, this aspect of, our body not being willing to suppress events anymore, we didn't really realize until the fire hit. And suddenly we realized, wow, we're not sad. So, 3-4 weeks after the fire, we're driving up to Red Cross and, pull up in the parking lot, sit in the parking lot, okay, put your sad face on because we're going to go in. Okay, now let's go in and get donations, and it does not feel good to be disingenuous. It sucks. Like this work is about being more yourself and being more genuine, and it felt really awful to put on a sad face to go in and to talk to FEMA, and we kind of had to just to get through the process, but it didn't feel good. And after a couple weeks of that, we just stopped. Like, no more donations. Don't go up there. It's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth hiding who I am just to get like some free food. Like, that's awful. I'm not going to suppress who I am. That's like even worse than suppressing an event you don't want, right? Like, just dumb. But that's the end result of this work. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff can happen, and instead of psychically denying it or pushing it away, we simply experience it, And that doesn't mean that my wife and I live a drama-free life or a pain-free life or a stress-free life. Like, we get stress, we get drama, we get pain. Like, there's no doubt about it. But it happens, and we go through it, and then it's over. And then we're back to laughing and having fun and whatever. Then we went through a second house fire, right, in 2017. 2 years later, now Sonoma County. So Lake County burned, we moved out of there, and then Sonoma County burned, and yeah, we lost that house too. And, we didn't even go in for donations. Like, why? We had rental insurance, and we've like sent the, paperwork in for that, and not helped yet, but like, we just don't want to be around the craziness. And, the thing is, 10 days after the fire, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, where am I? I'm like, oh yeah, there was a fire. Okay, I'm living somewhere new. Okay. Like, there's just no charge. Is that a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Sort of just with those experiences, since you had just shared that the body loves repetition.
Yeah.
So how did that work out for you guys since, like, within 2 years this other fire happens? Does that mean just extra training? Like, how?
Well, the first fire, we were living in a box canyon, right, surrounded by trees. And then, so we moved out of there, and when we got a new house, also at the end of a dead-end road, deep in the woods, surrounded by trees. And hey, this house right here, aside from this stone hearth behind me, the entire house is wood. And we're at the end of a dead-end road, surrounded by trees. Do you start to see a pattern here? Like, the thing is, we like living in the woods. Like, I do not want to live in an apartment downtown in the city surrounded by concrete. I just don't. It like sucks the water out of my body. I don't like it. I don't have a feeling in my body that this place is going to burn down. I think 10 or 20 years ago, I would not have been comfortable living here because I'd be constantly in fear of there's a fire coming. Let's get the car packed just in case. Like, I just don't run those fears. I'm not running this old memory anymore. To me, this house is totally different. And I get it's a wooden stick house in the woods in Sonoma. There's a lot of dry grass outside. It's pretty much the same situation, and it isn't.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that
different.
there's awareness of these factors, and that you're choosing to live here.
Right. Because in the past, I may not have had the awareness. I just would have felt anxious. I don't want to be here. Okay. And now I'm like, well, there's no fire. I'm fine. And if there is, there's a road out. We survived that before. Not a big deal.
Okay. Yeah.
Good? Clear? Okay, so the benefits of training. 1, we let go of old stuff. Reclaim attention, so we notice more in the moment, in our present environment right now. First benefit of training. Second benefit of training is that it trains our body to do this on its own. This training program, the private training side of this, is only 10 sessions. And generally for most people, in 6 or 7 sessions, our body learns how to tell the difference between a memory and an actual real-time event. And that's all that training is for, is just to give your body that awareness. And once your body has that awareness, you can start letting go of the old stuff on your own. Like it just happens. You'll be sleeping one night, you have a restless sleep maybe, but you wake up in the morning refreshed, and suddenly you're like, wow, I feel really good. You notice something out the window you never saw before, and then you suddenly notice, wow, I'm not mad at my dad anymore. Like, that's weird. Why was I mad at him before? And you won't even remember what you were mad about. Like stuff just goes while you sleep. Your body will literally look for memories in your body and let them go. And it can happen while you're awake too. You might be at lunch thinking about something and all of a sudden your shoulders drop and you feel relief, and then a few seconds later you realize what you let go of. It's pretty neat. The third benefit is that your body won't let you go into denial anymore. You get to experience life as it happens no matter what. And that might sound like craziness, like there's things that might happen to me that I don't want to experience and feel. However, when you do experience those things and you do feel them, they do not impact you as much as if you push them away and refuse to feel them. It's those things that we refuse to feel that actually impact us the most. That's because when something happens and you feel it, it then stays in the past. But if something happens and you refuse to feel it and you push it away, then it gets stuck in your body, and now your body thinks that event is perpetual, and it impacts you tremendously. So that's what the private training is about. There's also a workshop. The workshop is really to unpack and understand how and why we trained our bodies to hold on to all these negative things, and how and why we trained our bodies to push away events that we don't like. Because that isn't the natural state of the body. It's not your body's natural state to push away things it doesn't like. That is something that you trained yourself to do when you were very young. It's not the way things have to be. It's just how you trained your body when you were young, and now you're an adult and you forgot that you did it. And so you think you have problems. You don't. You just have bad training. All you get to do, really, take a workshop and retrain your body to feel the world as it happens. And to untrain this old training, to deconstruct it, and get your body to discontinue doing that training, and to train your body to do life in a new way, which is to look for change and to look for growth and to look for expansion, as opposed to let's look for safety, which is what our bodies typically do. If you're still running the training you did as a 4 or 5 year old or even younger, then what your body does is it looks for safety. And it looks for safety by finding what's bad. It finds what's bad and then it wants to go the other way. And just, hey, check your body right now. Like, what do you feel in your body right now? What is your body language? Just check in with your body and notice what you feel. Yeah? You tuned in? Now tell me, what did you look for? Did you look for where you have pain in your body? Or did you look for where you feel good in your body? Right? Did you look for where you have pain?
Tension, yeah.
What, you found tension in your body when you looked, huh? And how about you?
Well, I have to pee. So.
Okay, so you notice that you have to pee. Okay.
Yeah, they won't let me notice anything else. Hello, YouTube.
Why don't you go pee? It doesn't matter either way. It's all good. So I know you've been to a few of these before. I know you're not going to miss anything. So that's the point, is like, if you look for pain, if you look for where your body doesn't feel good, that's a good indication that you mistrained your body when you were very young. And there's nothing wrong with you. That's not a problem, right? It's just a mistraining. And it's just like, if you took a class on how to be a mechanic and the guy taught you wrong, well, you want to spend the rest of your life beating yourself up because you don't know how to be a mechanic? Well, no, you just take a class from somebody else who'll teach you to do it the right way, right? And then you move on with your life. That's all this is now. This isn't about beating yourself up for what you used to do. It's simply about, oh, that's non-optimal. Now you can find a new way to do things. And this new way to do things is to be here now and to experience life as it happens. One side of the coin of doing this training is doing the private training. And that is where you find a facilitator, which right now is just me, to locate where your body's been holding old memories and get some relief of like getting that out of your body. The other side of the training is taking a workshop and unraveling the training that you created. And then retraining your body to look for the positive. It's very easy. But believe me, it feels much better in your body to find the positive than to find the negative. It just does. But our body trusts repetition, and if our whole life we've always found negative, like that's what your body trusts. But the cat wants in. I know, he's like, hey, I want to hear this. Do you have any questions about that?
Mostly right now what I'm curious about is just like what that actually looks like. And
right.
The steps, because everything you're saying is stuff like this is. I'm like right on.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about the same. I've been thinking about this for a while.
Yeah, right on. Good. So, are you willing to volunteer and be on camera and like see what this feels like?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, your name is Jeff, and we're gonna get him on the table. So, are we gonna move the camera? Am I gonna pull the table forward, or?
We're gonna move the camera, but are you gonna have him stand in front first? Or
Yeah, for sure. So we'll do that first?
Do that first.
Okay, so why don't you stand up here? What I'm going to do while you're facing the camera is write a few issues on the board that I see, like what your body's holding on to.
Yeah.
And then can you come in right there? Can you actually come back about a foot? Is that good?
Perfect.
All right. So you don't mind being filmed, you're going to be on YouTube. It's going to be okay. You might get on
totally okay
Facebook,
being on
DVD,
YouTube.
Whatever, you're fine.
Make me famous for being ouchy in my body. Fixing it.
Right on. So, just going to look and write a few things on the board. So, how are you feeling today? Pretty good?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Body feels pretty comfy.
Yeah? All right.
Well rested.
Well rested?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, I see what drives you crazy. And dun dun dun. So probably. Okay, so actually this is, we're not going to put your entire life history on camera, right?
It's okay.
We're just going to put a few things up here that I think they're kind of on the surface. You're like, it's stuff your body wants to let go of, right? When stuff's stressing us out and it's bubbling up here, it's a lot easier to let go of than when it's like buried deep and you're completely unaware of it. And even if you could let it go, you might feel totally ungrounded if you did, right? But the stuff that's like up here and kind of like in our consciousness, it's just ready to go. And that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so just turn 90 degrees. Just turn this way and look at what I wrote. So the first one is about doing enough, right? And so there's a concern with you of like, am I doing enough? Did I get enough done? What more should I have done? That kind of question. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So 0 to 10, 0 means that like that's not you, and 10 is like it's ruining your life. How would you rate that 0 to 10?
More or less ruining my life. Yeah.
Like how high?
Let's call it a 9.
A 9?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, in the past like 2 days, yesterday that was like the theme of my day.
Really?
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
All right, so I didn't leave room to put the 9. We'll put the 9 here for the first one. Okay. And the next one is perfectionism. Now, perfectionist to me, that is somebody who's always looking to see what's wrong so they can fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? Instead of just like enjoying the perfection that is everywhere around you, you're like, ooh, I can tweak that and make it better. Ooh, I can tweak this and make it better.
Yeah.
Does that sound like you?
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 to 10.
Yeah, it's a good 8.
An 8.
Good 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing you've got going on here is you're holding something in your body from when you were about 12. How old are you now?
29.
Okay.
Almost 30.
Almost 30. So, yeah, right around age 12. It could have been 13, 14, but I'm guessing 12. Anything happen? Like, did you move or did you have any big life changes then?
12. I mean, that's 7th grade. That was terrible. It's just like
You
the
were
most
terrible.
awkward year of my life. Yeah. I didn't move. I was with my parents, but I was like adopted when I was 13. Just like legal change, but
Well,
same people.
that's your
Yeah.
life event, so it didn't happen at
Same
12, it
parents
happened at
for 10
13.
years.
But wait, you were adopted at 13?
Yeah. But
So
they've
what
been
happened-
My parents since I was 3, but
Okay, but
13
you-
was the legal shift.
Okay. But that's a big deal. You probably didn't even think about it until all of a sudden you had a legal shift and then you realized, oh, you mean I wasn't adopted before?
A little bit, yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
right, it changed the way you perceived your life.
Yeah. My name changed. My last
And
name.
your name changed. So, okay, I was wrong. It wasn't 12, it was 13. Like, right? Like,
Right there.
close though, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get you on the table. We're going to see what may have happened in your childhood to create this feeling like you can't do enough, right? Or this like need to make things better. And we'll just see if we can reduce how impactful you feel these issues are in your life.
Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get you on the table. Put your ankles off the far end. And actually, I'm going to pull it here because I'm on a microphone cord. And all right, so we had an iPad storage issue. Sorry for the delay there. Okay, so I've got a microphone cord that's going to bop you in the head. Sorry about that.
Good.
We're going to upgrade to wireless as soon as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking for where you've got a tight muscle in your shoulder. And you feel tension right there? Okay. When you were young, did anyone make you feel like you weren't worth it? There, feel the muscle?
Yeah,
It's
feel
starting
it.
to go. So you don't have to answer out loud. The answer is really for you.
Gotcha.
So did you think of somebody?
Myself, yeah.
Yourself? Okay. Feel that? Right there. Was there ever a time when your mother didn't have time for you? Like she told you to go away? Like leave her alone because she's cooking or...
Yeah.
Okay. Did that make you feel like you weren't worth having attention for? Or you weren't as important?
Yeah.
There, feel the muscle?
Yeah, it's letting go. So yeah, right about the same age we were looking at. So we
Yeah.
got a new
So-
little sister too.
Say, I am number one.
I am number 1.
Thank you. Feel that muscle. There you go. I am worth it.
I'm worth it.
There. Does that feel different? Yeah. Good. So all we're doing here is showing your body that that old thought is based on a memory and not based on reality right now. Make sense? Okay. So now let's do this side. Put your arm there. Do you have any older siblings?
Not that have ever been in my life.
Okay. So you grew up an only child when you were adopted? Is that
Yeah, I was the only child, and then got a little brother when I was 6, little
Okay.
sister at 11.
were your parents overprotective when you were a kid? Like, did they keep you from getting hurt? Like, tell you, don't do this, don't do that? There you go. Which is totally fine, right? I mean, our parents, whether they're adopted parents or birth parents, like, they want to keep us safe. The problem is that gets repeated too often. You start wondering, well, wait, what's wrong with me that I need to be so protected? Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Say I'm safe.
Safe.
Good. There. How does it feel? Flatter. Shoulders feel flatter on the table? Awesome. Stand up. Good.
Yeah, it's better.
High quality, high technology. Wave to the people in the stands on the third balcony up high. Yeah, there you go. So look at this now. Like, just right now off the top of your head, do you feel like whatever you do is enough? Like, do you feel a little more grounded?
Yeah.
Okay, so from it was a 9, now how does that issue feel to you?
Like a 4.
A 4?
Much better.
9 to 4? Awesome. And perfectionist. So needing to fix things. Does it feel like...
That's feeling okay right now.
Okay. 3?
Yeah.
Excellent. We didn't really touch on this, like the whole 13 thing. So maybe come to the workshop,
Yeah.
or continue on your training, whatever, and we'll see if there's something there. Or maybe being adopted doesn't bother you anymore, But whatever it is, there's like, you've got body language that told me that there was something there at 12 or 13,
Yeah.
right? So there might just be something. And the thing about body language is, it's not necessarily what you're conscious of today, right? I mean, you're an adult. You said you're 29, right? You're probably happy that you're adopted, right? I mean, it's like, it just doesn't matter to you. You're like, yeah, I'm me. This is like, life is great. But back then, right? It
Yeah.
probably made you
Yeah,
question,
weird.
like, where do I belong, right? And your body is still holding on to that old, like, where do I belong? Is this weird? So as an adult, you probably feel great, but then when you go somewhere new, when you go to apply for a new job or whatever, that's when it might get rekindled. Be like, oh, do I really belong here? Am I like, is it no. So that's just an old thing. But I specifically wanted to have this discussion now so you can feel in your body, yeah, you've got something there, but it's not really impacting you.
Yeah.
Right? It might impact you when you go do something new and you might feel, do I belong here? Right?
Right. But in this moment.
But in this moment, it's just not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Story.
Right. As far as like, if people want to think of this as healing, it's not about healing you, the observer, like the conscious being that is enjoying life. It's just about tweaking the memory of you, right? It's about like the little kid inside who's getting adjusted.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
All right, cool. Well, can you stand here again?
Yeah.
And like smile for everybody and just, because this work is really about the before and after. Because I can talk theory for an hour and you might not believe a word I say. However, most of us humans totally trust what we see. And, what I'd like you to see now is Jeff's before and after. So, rewind the video and check and make sure that there was a shift if you want. But thank you very much. That was awesome. Yeah, 9 to 4 and 8 to 3. That's a really good day for me. I love it. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. So that is the introduction to this work, to my work, Your Body Never Lies. And do you have any questions about that? About what you saw or what we've talked about? I mean, every intro is different. I don't have time to get into all the details of everything. I'm always, adjusted to who's here and what I think is appropriate to say. But there's lots I left out. So if you have a question, that's totally reasonable. And if you don't, we end here. We had a great intro, and now I get a new video for YouTube. So are we good? Or do you have a question?
How'd you get the age?
How did I get the age?
Yeah, like as you look at it.
So one thing about being human and having that mistraining when we were young is that when things happen that we don't want to feel, or like bad feelings happen, right? Or we start having these feelings we don't like, we push them away. We've already gone over this. Now, but when you repeat pushing away your feelings, you're actually telling your body through repetition that your feelings are wrong. And eventually it gets really difficult to get information from your feelings. And most people, like when I walk around downtown, it's literally like 3/4, 90% of people are not feeling anything. They're just locked in their brain and their wheels are going, and they're not feeling their body at all. They're not getting any information from their body other than, oh, I'm hungry. Like that's about as far as people trust their feelings, you know. Or I like that girl, right? You might trust that. When you do this training and you start reclaiming that attention and suppressed feelings, you're also undoing that repetition of not trusting your feelings. And what ends up happening is your body starts trusting your feelings more, you start trusting your feelings more, and then the range of information that you can get from your feelings expands exponentially. So when I'm reading body language, I don't look at you and think, okay, his shoulder's up, what does that mean? And he's got this line on his face, what does that mean? And he's like nodding his head, and you know, I'm not going through a big list of things that I see on your body to try to figure Jeff out. That's not my game. What I'm doing is I'm tuning into you. So I'm kind of putting you in my bubble, you know, like it's me and you together, like tuned in, and then I'm feeling my body. And what I feel in my body when I look at you is, you know, this like being 12, 13, this like sinkingness, right? When I like tune into your history, right at that age, I feel it's like, ugh. And so, cool. And that's how I know to say it. But it's purely within. And anybody can learn to do this. It's almost like Star Wars: The Force, right? You're like, trust your feelings, Luke, you know, whatever Obi-Wan says. I mean, it's really about learning to trust your feelings. And you can get outrageously specific information, like magical, just blow your mind. Seriously, and that's the whole point, blow your mind. Because guess what? Your mind has never given you one piece of good information, ever. Your mind, the only thing your mind does is measures and compares what it sees to what it used to see. And that referencing the past, right, always gets it wrong. Because when we're referencing the past, we're missing out on information that we would otherwise be seeing here. It's kind of like if I look at you and I reference that girl in 7th grade, right? All I'm going to see is you're going to reject me if I ask you to the movies. I'm not even going to see, like, maybe you don't even like boys, right? Like, who knows? Like I'm not even going to notice, like, what's really going on here. Maybe you're smiling because, you know, like, my t-shirt looks like your dad's t-shirt. Like, it might not even have to do with attraction. Like, who knows? But if I'm wrapped up in my mind, I'm not going to see what's really happening. But feelings are only right now. You only feel in the moment, and therefore feelings are always real. They might not be based on the truth, but the feeling itself is always real. And in more videos, we'll get into more detail with that, you know. But remember, this is an intro. We're not going to get too deep into just the phenomena. However, you know, I hope you come back. And as far as private training goes, what you just experienced there was basically your first session. So that was like 1 out of 10. Like within 9 sessions, if you keep repeating this, eventually, like you just end up being here now effortlessly because your body no longer is attending to old history stuff, old memories and old, you know, they're still there, but you don't have attention stuck on them. Yeah. Make sense? I mean, and how long were you on the table? Like a minute?
Yeah.
It was like 2 questions, this muscle, this tension here, boom, boom. And notice too, I didn't have to manipulate the muscles. All I did was touch them so that you could feel them, right? And it's basically, you have to feel the tension while you're jogging your memory around. And that's my job, is so that you can feel, and at the same time I'm asking you questions to get your body to put the memory and the tension together. But there's no manipulation, it's just touching. It's just like if I'm shaking your hand, you know. But it was really fast. And you know, that's the other thing that makes this work fun, is there's no drama, there's no storytelling. It's just, oh yeah, let it go, and then it's over. Which, I mean, there's 1,000 things out there that aren't that fun, you know, for sure. Cool?
Cool.
Any more questions? I think I can wrap this up. That's a neat little package. Are we good? Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.